Hello again. It is Good Friday morning and I'm heading down to San Diego to get my roof rack installed, and I wanted to share a few things with you that I've been thinking about.
I am on my way to San Diego, a little town outside of San Diego, to have the roof rack installed on my van. I'm hoping I actually slow down a little bit right now because you guys will be able to hear me better. So Jack is with me because this is going to be an all-day trip, and of course he's snoozing in his bed next to me. But I am really excited about this. You guys can kind of see above my head back here, I'm kind of in between on getting my insulation and my wiring installed. But today is the day for the roof rack install. Oh, excuse me. I am super stoked about this. It's going to change the look of the van on the outside. There's going to be a ladder on the driver's side outside just in front of the rear wheel well, which will enable me to get up and down on the van to do all the things I need to do for installing my solar panels and anything else I decide that I need to do or want to do up there. And oh my gosh, I can't believe how much I'm yawning. So I'm really getting my roof rack installed just makes me even more determined. I mean, obviously I'm spending the money on everything on this van. It's pretty obvious that I'm determined that I'm gonna see this all the way through and really enjoy this change. But getting the roof rack on is also kind of monumental for me because it is just a really big step in following through with this goal and this I guess, I don't know, I don't want to sound corny by saying, you know, living my best life, but having this adventure and not putting it off and, you know, continually saying, well, someday I'm gonna do this and someday I'm gonna do whatever, and then someday never gets here for whatever reason. Life circumstances, fear. I think fear is a really big thing that prohibits people from doing the things that they talk about doing someday. And I'm just really excited. You know, life is really short in the broad scheme of things, and I am, you know, my family and I have just gone through you know, just a rough time. My mom lost her brother, my uncle, about a week and a half ago, and 4 days, he died on a Monday, and 4 days after that, his wife, my Aunt Sandy, passed away. She had been diagnosed with cancer quite a few years ago and had really lived longer than they anticipated that she would. But, you know, it was still a big loss to lose both of them. And it was my mom's last living sibling, so she is the only one left of her generation, of that part of our family. And so it's been, you know, it's been hard for her. My uncle was 87 and my Aunt Sandy was 70. I don't know, she was between 70 and 75. So, you know, if I live to be that age, I've got, you know, quite a few years left ahead of me, and I hope I, you know, live till I'm 90 unless the Lord comes first and decides to, you know, take me on to heaven, which would be okay with me. And then yesterday was April 1st, and that's always a little bit of struggle for me. April 1st is the day that my dad passed away was 17. He decided to take his own life, and my poor mom and stepdad had to wake my sister and I up and tell us that my dad was gone. We lived with them at the time, and my dad lived up in Washington State. So April 1st is always, it's just a difficult day. It's brings back those memories. It's obviously been a lot of years. I'm 57 now, and I was 17 when my dad passed, so it's been 40 years. But it's still, it still affects me. Really, when I take time to think about all of the things that I didn't get to experience with my dad. I never got to see me married, never got to see my kids, my grandkids. Just a lot of things that my sister and I missed out on, sisters and I missed out on because of the decision my dad made. Obviously, there is, some mental illness in my family, and I'm a sufferer of that as well. And I work to maintain that by seeing a therapist and taking medication. And I'm saying all of that to say life is short, and life is full of difficult times and struggles, and life is also full of joy and happiness and blessings and beautiful moments with family, and meeting strangers and having interaction with a stranger that impacts your life, and just being reminded of those things makes me even more determined to get this van done and start living in the van and experiencing life on a more tangible and deliberate level. And so getting my roof rack is, by no means does it temper the sadness that my family has been through, and also just the sadness that I feel in remembering my dad. I waited to do this video while I'm driving until I felt like I could do it without crying. But getting my roof rack on is like a big deal in the van build. It's an expensive deal in the van build. And I'm just excited to be doing this. I took this week off of work just to take time, to process everything that's happened. Also knowing it was the week of my dad's passing. I feel like the older I get, it almost seems to affect me a little bit more, because I'm 57. My dad was 38 when he died, so I have lived almost 20 years longer than my dad did, and I look at all of the things that I've gotten to experience in my life and everything that I have to look forward to, and living in my van and planning for my future, retirement, grandkids getting older, spending time with them, all of those things that make me excited about what I have to look forward to. I just so many things that he's missed out on, and that I've missed out on participating with him. But I am moving forward, moving headstrong into this plan, driving down to San Diego, and it's a 3-hour installation process. So I brought a book, and I've got my phone, music, I have Jack with me, we can go for a walk. But driving down here, I was thinking about these things and how excited I am for this next step in the van build. I ordered the roof rack about 2.5 or 3 months ago, but had a really long lead time. So today's the day. I'm excited about that. I tend to, take some rabbit trails when I'm talking about things that are emotional to me. And obviously this has been one of those weeks. So join me on the next part. And if you have that someday thing or things that you keep saying, someday I'm going to take a trip here, or someday I'm going to do this, or someday I'm going to learn how to whatever it is, someday I'm going to take an art class, someday I'm going to learn how to surf, someday I'm going to buy a motorcycle, someday. For me, someday I'm going to build a tiny house, and that's going to be where I live for retirement, and I am going to make that happen. I'm determined, and building this van out and living in the van for a while is what's going to help me accomplish that. So if you have someday things in your life, I want to encourage you to just plan it out and start. Just start. Just take the first step into making that happen for yourself. It's exciting. It's a little bit nerve-wracking. It can produce some anxiety, at least in me, just with the planning process and doing things a step at a time. It can be freeing. It can be frustrating. It can be so many different things, just like this bundle of emotions that you go through. But I think fear is the first thing that keeps people from doing their someday thing. And for me, it was a little bit of fear. So I'd been planning this, I'd been researching it, I had written plans, and one day I just decided I'm going to go and start looking for a van. And the first place I went to, I saw this van, and I went home and I did some more research on the Transit 350's pulling capacity, payload capacity, miles per gallon. I wanted the medium roof height. I went with the medium high because for me, it gives me about that much headroom after everything is done, but that's really all I need. Someday when I build out, there it is, someday when I build out my second van, which I'm already planning to do, I don't know when, but I will do it. I will go with the higher roof and probably the extended length. Why not? I mean, this is kind of my practice run on the van, and so I just got up and I went and looked, and I saw this van, and I went home, I did that research, and the next week I went to the dealership, and it was a passenger van, so I knew there was more demo I had to do, but at the same time it was everything else that I was looking for. And so I knew I didn't want 2 car payments, and I knew that basically I will be driving my home to and from work and everywhere that I go. So I traded in my car, and I got exactly the trade-in on my car that I owed on my car. Literally exactly the amount. So I am financing the van, but my first plan when I'm in it is to pay the van off as fast as possible, which shouldn't take long because I am not going to be paying rent anymore or utilities or all of those things. Man, I am just like really chatting, but I'm driving, so I may as well talk to you all, right? So that is my plan, and then just sock all my money away so that I can find a place where I would like to live when I retire. So I have the van, and I'll be able to go and visit different places, and I have no idea where that's going to be. Probably not too far from where I am now, because I really like having access to see my kids and my grandkids whenever possible. So I just really firmly believe that in planning for this and praying about this, that it's not by chance that I found the exact van I wanted when I decided to step past my fear and go and look for a van. And I found this van, and it's not a coincidence that they gave me on my trade-in, they gave me exactly what I still owed on my other car, so I didn't have to roll any of that value into financing this van. And everything has just worked out amazing. And I'm using my American Express card to buy the stuff, but I'm paying it off as soon as I buy it. But on the American Express card, I get points, so I can fly, I can use it for hotel stays. So that's a cool benefit. I may as well get, double the rewards. I'm getting an awesome van that I'm learning how to build out myself, and then I also have points to, be able to take a weekend break if I need it from all the build out stuff. So I stepped past my fear, and everything has fallen into place so far. So step beyond your fear, and you don't have to jump into your someday thing. You can take it slow. I mean, this has required me doing it in steps, but the jump or the leap was buying the van and getting rid of my car, and then tearing out the seats and everything in the van. So if I ever had some crazy notion that I was gonna scrap this whole idea and sell the van, I have to finish building out the van, because it's in the middle of transformation. Anyways, that's a lot of rambling. Anywho, we have about 35 or 40 more minutes until we get to Aluminess, but we should be there shortly, and we'll touch base with you when we get there. Bye-bye.
It is a beautiful day, and the temperature out here is perfect. Jack, hey, eat your treat. Get your treat. Look at how great this turned out. I am so excited. This is going to be one of my favorite spots.